What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
The NHL trade deadline has passed.
And it was one for the history books for once.
Finally, the NHL trade deadline was better than the NBA trade deadline. It's been a long time since that happened.
Yeah, especially with a lot of rumors that were going down. A lot of those players have been traded. Some may have not. But yeah, we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get into it from Thursday and Friday trades. We already covered the trades that happened on Wednesday, like Noah Hannafin, for example. That was on our part 1 on the Thursday podcast that was released, so you guys could check our reactions out to that. We also dropped a poll question for you guys to answer what was the best trade up to that point. But we're going to start off with the biggest fish that was on the market, and that is Jake Guentzel, who was also one of our winners and who got traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. The trade ultimately ended up being Jake Guentzel and defenseman Ty Smith going to the Hurricanes. In return, Kyle Dubas reunites with Michael Bunting. Vasily Ponomarev, Ville Koivunen, Cruz Lucius, conditional first 2024, conditional fifth 2024. Penguins retain 25% of the Guentzel salary. First round pick becomes Flyers 2024 second round pick if Hurricanes don't make the Stanley Cup final this year. Penguins only receive fifth round pick if Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup. So that's the trade. Not out of nowhere.
It's a pretty shit trade for the Pens, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a rental.
I know it's a rental, but if you're telling me Adam Henrique is worth a guaranteed first round pick, how the hell is Jake Guentzel not getting you a guaranteed first round pick?
Yeah, because, I mean, Oilers management is also stupid. But
yeah,
that's the other thing. We'll talk about the Oilers later.
No, but it still doesn't matter. Pens, Dubas, you had an L on this one. I'm not afraid to say that. You did have an L on this one. So, yeah, so Penguins, honestly, for this reason, they might be also one of my losers. But let's go to the flip side. Hurricanes, one of our winners, because
of this trade.
Jake Guentzel, they're the winners of trade. They're one of the winners of deadline because Jake Guentzel is that guy.
Yeah.
Right? We've said that many times. Jake Guentzel can do many things. He's been experienced. He's won cups. He could score goals. He can play make. He's in a complete offensive package, in my opinion. And obviously now it's a test. Is it Crosby and Guentzel, or can Guentzel do it on his own? Obviously, you're going to have a lot of help when you have like Aho and Svechnikov to play with as well. So,
yeah, no, for me, looking at the Guentzel side of things, clutch performer as well. Listen, Penguins had to make this trade. Yes, it wasn't the greatest return. It's still an expensive return for a rental. I get that. Like, again, we'll talk about the Oilers later because the first wasn't meant to be that way. We talked about the Henrique trade in general.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, Carolina is not known for buying rentals in general. So they might have a contract extension agreed upon. Who knows? I don't think so, though, because the reports where he might go to the free agency. For the Carolina side of things, this obviously makes you confident of you making them go to the finals at least, because they usually bounce out by the conference finals the latest, usually the semifinal, I would say. Last year they made it to the conference finals, I believe.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't get over the hump, and now they added a piece that has been there and done that. Yes, you could say, is it Crosby or is it Guentzel on his own? Doesn't matter. I think Guentzel is part of it. Everybody says that. I do not like to discredit people like that. There's certain players, yeah, you have to say they're part of. How Hronek is a.
Okay, it's not even that, bro. Like, it's clear that Crosby was a part of Guentzel's success. There's no denying that, right? And there's no need to bring up examples.
Product, that's the word.
There's no need to examples because it's true. Guentzel's success, some of the credit goes to Crosby. That's not taking anything away from Guentzel, right? You had a great teammate and you played well with that great teammate. The teammate's going to have some sort of
impact, for sure.
Impact.
I get that. But my point is,
and if that team is Crosby,
again, I love that he got traded because he gets to prove that now, and because it's in his contract year.
It's not even a knock, right? Because
it is slight knock because you're discrediting him by saying like, oh well, I am a smart NHL player. I forget who was on Halford and Bruff yesterday. He said that like, yeah, no, you cannot, like, people saying that he's a Crosby product. That's a little bit of a discredit. That's a little bit of a disrespect.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that you can't run away from the fact that, like,
no, I'm not saying that either. It's like the Brock Purdy conversation all over again.
Yeah, you can't run away from the fact that Crosby was your teammate either.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, it's a different story if it was like,
I guess
other players.
People are basing it on that, like, there's more to him than Crosby.
Oh yeah, there definitely is.
It isn't like how McDavid made Puljujärvi look good for a decent bit, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not that. Yeah.
So that's what I think people are saying. But at the end of the day, I think it's a good fit for him. It's a good fit for Carolina because they need goal scoring, consistent clutch performances. Who's better than this guy? Yes, to your point, Crosby's not there, but you're still
But
playing
you have
without talent.
Aho. Yeah, you have
And you still
Aho.
have one of the goal scorers. I don't know what line he'll be playing on or how it is set up at the moment. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Hurricanes needed to make some type of move if they want to get to the Stanley Cup final this year to make your prediction right. And this is the perfect move for it.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
If they did not make a move, they would have been a loser. So either way, they were going to be a winner or they were going to be a loser. And they were not the only team in on Gensel. The Canucks were obviously heavily linked. I think the Oilers were linked. Obviously, Vegas was linked.
Vegas linked everyone.
Right? So at the end of the day, these guys ended up going out, getting him. They feel confident that they could extend him as well because otherwise they probably would not have given up this much of a package either. Still, for a rental, it's big. I know from Pittsburgh side of things, it doesn't look great, especially with the year they're having. But yeah, at the end of the day, he goes to a Stanley Cup contender. Can he prove it? Again, can he prove doubters wrong as well? But for me, I think he's a perfect fit there. He'll be the goal scoring clutch guy because there's a reason why the Canucks fans wanted him as well.
Well, he's a
Oilers
perfect
fans
fit,
wanted
man.
him,
Like
and
he is a complete package in the terms of off ice and on ice, right? He produces and he's experienced. You can't have a better combo than that.
Yeah.
And then obviously now the Canes are going to be in a better spot than last year because I think Svechnikov has been way healthier this year than he was compared to last year. He didn't play in the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also a big add. So you could kind of think of that like another addition, right? Internal addition because Svechnikov was not there in the playoffs. So you kind of think about it. You have two additions going into the playoffs if he stays healthy and Gensel comes back healthy as well.
Yeah. So that's our thoughts on the trade. I think it's a win-win for Gensel and Carolina for sure. Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you moved him. It's better than not moving him. That's like always the hindsight. That's the only positive you could look out of this. Because then, yeah, like to your point, Lindholm fetched a first, right?
There's no way Gensel didn't fetch a first. It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable that Gensel didn't give you
this next trade we're going to talk about, the next big fish, who I think this is even more mind-blowing than this, is Tyler Toffoli. Ends up being a Winnipeg Jet on deadline day itself. Just for a second-round pick of 2025 and third-round pick for 2024, and the Devils retain 50%. This one's more, if you're saying that one's kind of like...
Nah, I still think Gensel one's more surprising.
I'm saying this one's more surprising.
Because I feel like
this one's more surprising to me.
The Toffoli trade was kind of similar to the Canucks, wasn't it?
Nope.
What was that one?
Which one are you talking about, Lindholm?
No, when the Canucks traded for Toffoli.
Oh, yeah, that was... okay, well, different times as well. You got to look at the market, but... That was also a second. Tyler Madden was the prospect and Tim Schaller.
Yeah, so I would honestly,
this one's less than that, if anything.
Yeah, by barely.
I don't. I think this is bad on. And the Canucks. I don't think Kings retained either. The Devils are retaining 50%. The Devils. The reason why I'm calling them a loser, Canucks were in on him. VJK was in on him. Oilers are probably in on him. The Kings were in on him. Obviously, the Jets ended up being in on him. There's a bidding war. You can't tell me that this has to be the best offer. We'll speak on the negative one side. We'll talk about the Devils. Because you're probably going to miss the playoffs.
So what were you expecting? Because I don't think a first...
Similar to a Lindholm package.
I don't think
I'm not saying... I don't care about other people's opinions, but other people are sharing the same opinion as me. Whereas, like, what Gensel got, I'm not saying exactly that, but like half a step below that.
I don't think
because he was the next
I don't think he was getting a first, bro. I don't think they were getting a first.
Maybe not a first, but like a prospect.
A prospect,
maybe
yes.
A first.
That's where I agree with you. A prospect, but no way. I don't think like
maybe
a mid-tier.
Maybe even a first.
Like
because we've seen first thrown out. Adam Henrique, Elias Lindholm. Obviously, there's a conditional on Jake Gensel, and there's probably other players that we're gonna see. Thomas Hertl.
Like I'm not saying Devils did good, but I'm saying the Pens did worse.
I'm just saying what the Devils did was questionable.
Yeah, but I'm just like, okay, Devils did bad. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But the Pens did worse.
If you are trading him, you did bad.
The Pens were worse. That's all I'm gonna say. That's that's where I rest my case.
I'm resting my case. I'm saying the opposite because I feel like you could have gone more. Like at least even a Lindholm package, right? Because you could arguably say the two best forwards available in this free agency class overall. Trade target is these two guys, Gensel and Toffoli. You could arguably say that. In terms of forwards.
Yeah, I would say that.
Right? Like Lindholm's up there. He was probably the best center available, right? The Canucks snagged him early. But what I'm saying is I'm surprised about the return. But let's flip the script for a second. Let's talk about Toffoli, who Rick Dollywell said he wanted to stay in America, but ends up going to Winnipeg. And obviously, the meme is if there's just it was like the Kawhi to Raptors thing. They just send you across and he send you to the middle of nowhere. In this case, it's Winnipeg. But for Winnipeg, massive dub, massive dub. They needed scoring. They added scoring. There's a reason why the LA Kings wanted to reunite with him because they needed the scoring. Instead, obviously, during the NHL preview, trade deadline day preview, I was going crazy, but the Canucks should be getting Toffoli. Obviously, this morning when I woke up and listened to Elliot Friedman, Rick Dollywell, they're saying that the asking price was high. That's why I'm also bewildered because this is not a high asking price in my opinion.
That's
right?
true.
That's where I'm also saying where the Devils are asking for a high price and this
Does
is
the
what
Canucks even have that? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's 20, they don't have a second this year. They could have given next year's second. They could have put some conditions
is that
on
next
it.
year's second?
Yes, it's not this year's second.
Oh yeah, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, see, that's my point.
It's cap. That's why they had to get rid of people.
I get that too.
Yeah.
I know, and Dollywell said it's easier said than done, and I
It was
agree
cap.
with that.
It was cap
but
issues.
it's still like you can't blame me as a Canucks fan to look at this like the Canucks.
Yeah, like
could have
Canucks were
done
done.
something
I
similar.
looked at that. I had the same reaction as you. I was like, yo, how the hell did Canucks not do
and
this?
they retained, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, but let's talk about the Jets. The fit, one of the more surprising teams this year. Are they still Stanley Cup contenders? No, because I feel like who my winner we're going to talk about later in Colorado. I think they heavily upgraded.
By the way, Jets were also. We had 5 winners total. Jets were on that list as well.
Yeah.
With the Canes.
Yeah.
So
Jets obviously added Sean Monahan early in the year. They needed that center depth. They got it in him, who was having a resurgent year with the Canadians. Now they added Tyler Toffoli, who, like I said, was a perfect fit for them. Would have been a perfect fit for the Canucks. Perfect fit anywhere, right? Because Tyler Toffoli is that type of guy. Fun fact though, Tyler, this is the 4th Canadian team he's playing on in this last 5 years.
yeah.
And the 5th team overall, which is kind of crazy to me for a guy like Tyler Toffoli. I don't know, like every time there was a bad situation, he always gets traded because he's a valuable piece. So
Exactly,
we see
yeah.
why he gets traded.
It's
But
not really
just funny
surprising.
to see that.
It's funny to see, but it's not really surprising.
Yeah, like it's one of those future career NBA career guess the career path for NHL player.
That's for sure. But yeah, no, Tyler, like they got some stacked forwards now. You got Scheifele, who's been healthy. You got Kyle Connor. You got Nikolai Ehlers. Now you added Sean Monahan and you added in Tyler Toffoli. You have Gabe Velarde and Iafallo already.
Yeah.
So it's
defensively, you're solid. You have the Vezina winner probably this year.
Yeah, the
who's
Vezina
also getting
winner.
Hart Trophy
You have
votes.
Josh Morrissey, who was called Josh Norrisy last year. Like honestly, Winnipeg is just for me. It's the question mark of their health of the stars, right? Because Scheifele always seems to get injured in the playoffs. Every time I see Winnipeg in the playoffs, I always see a report Scheifele's hurt. Scheifele's being
or
injured.
suspended. I think wasn't he the one that got suspended too?
I think he got suspended. Yeah, he got suspended as well.
But no, okay. So going back to it again, do I think Winnipeg's a Stanley Cup contender? No, they might be on that same tier as the Canuck level.
Yeah,
which is half.
I
Like, I
agree.
won't be surprised if they make it to the Stanley Cup final or conference finals.
But I want to say this much. I feel like it's way more. I feel like it might be a lot more competitive this year.
100%. We'll talk about
Yeah.
we'll talk about playoff races at the end, how everything matches up.
Yeah, but it's a lot more competitive because like the Canucks at the end of the day, like they haven't let off, right? People
Yeah.
expect them to let off. Winnipeg, same thing. They haven't let off. Like this is
And
who
they upgraded. Like they
this
determined
this
their
is who
moves.
they are, right?
Yeah.
And like
And Foley fits that.
is that going to translate to playoff success? Not always.
But you also are adding a guy who scores a lot of goals. He had 10 points in 10 games for the Canucks for that mini bubble run they had, and he was injured.
yeah.
Right? And but
It's a massive upgrade.
But overall, massive dub for the Jets to make it at least more competitive after seeing what the Avs did a couple of days ago and what Vegas did a couple of days ago before they added Thomas Sherrill at the buzzer. And obviously the Canucks being what the Canucks are, the Dallas Stars adding Chris Tanev. So they obviously upgraded. And
Everyone
they
had
needed
it.
scoring and they added scoring and you got one of the best scorers.
Like yeah,
that was available.
Now you're looking at it like Kings are like the biggest L right here
Yeah, we're going
because
to talk about the losers
like you got
later on.
Winnipeg added, Colorado added, Dallas added, Canucks added,
Edmonton.
Edmonton added, Vegas added, Nashville added, even though it's very minor.
Yeah.
So
But like you have like
Every
seven out of the 8 teams could potentially make a run if they can.
Exactly.
Edmonton, LA being on the lower end of the 7. Like
yeah,
they're
and with
literally hanging
Nashville
on
as
at
well.
7,
Yes.
right? So
But like if you think about it, like all the 7 out of the 8 current playoff spots all made a move.
yeah,
How minor,
of
how big,
significance in a way.
of decency, right? At the end of it, Bavillier was.
It's still significant for them.
It's not significant. It's like it's a
for
depth
for
piece.
a Nashville
It's a
level
depth piece.
team,
No, it's a
but
depth
yeah.
piece. It's not a significant move. don't.
I'm saying like
It's not significant.
more significant what the LA Kings did.
Oh yeah, it was way more significant than nothing.
Okay, whatever. You're right. Yeah, they
It's
added
not significant,
pieces.
bro.
But okay, let's go back to topic, which is
Yeah.
Toffoli and the Jets.
I mean, yeah. Just quick conclusion. They added a stud. They added a guy who's been there, done that.
And
Couple.
we also got to remember they added Sean Monahan as well.
Oh yeah, we already mentioned that too.
So
I think he's playing with Sean Monahan. It's me, him, and Sean Monahan having their own line as well.
okay, so let's move on.
It's got to be Thomas Hurdle next, bro.
We have to.
You can't tell me they did a freaking Kawhi Leonard buzzer beater at the deadline by adding a solid piece.
So Thomas Hurdle is gone. So this is why, again, I'm like, considering what his contract situation was, because he's long term. There's no way they could have not gotten a first for Toffoli, but we'll rest that.
Oh, well, who cares about that now?
Thomas Hurdle, third round pick, 2025, and a third round pick in 2027, going to Golden Knights for first round pick 2025, and David Edstrom. Sharks retained $6.75 million off his contract, which is 17% total. So obviously, Vegas
like 17% of like the total contract.
It's just off Hurdle's contract.
So the whole thing then.
Yeah.
So not like per year.
Yeah, it's not gonna be per year.
But
that's why they got extra assets on top of Hurdle as well. Listen, Thomas Hurdle's a good hockey player.
He's a very good hockey player.
It's just because it just happened to be in San Jose, and he ended up getting a bad for the San Jose standards, bad contract. But this is a lose for San Jose as well. Here's why. This is what I read. They've already used up their retained salary slots already with this contract.
So they've lost everything. They had it with Carlson.
You know how usually in the future, that's one of them as well.
Yeah, they had Carlson in the off season as well.
Yeah, so what they so in the future, you know how usually these are the teams that you salary dump and you give an extra pick to, like how Colorado did with Ryan Johansson.
Yeah.
They can no longer be that spot.
So so
they can't gather any assets really if they wanted to, unless they want to, and because they can't retain, so they can't even be a third party broker and deals.
That's me tough.
So that's why San Jose is a loser on that side of this trade. But let's talk about Vegas coming off a loss to the Canucks, where the Canucks played much better than them. Vegas did not look good at all.
Oh yeah, that's
ended up adding more moves. We knew they were gonna do it because the LTI rule thing to the side, they have smart management at the end of the day.
They play the game, right? They played the game well.
No, not including the LTI part.
Yeah,
negotiating contracts.
I'm including everything, even with the LTI. Every single aspect of GMing.
I get that.
They have it done.
I want to put more emphasis on the negotiating contracts.
Yeah, you put emphasis on that
because
like at the end of the day,
there's no way you get Hannafin for $500K more on the cap than what Oilers got for Stetcher.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like all around dubs, right? With advantages and disadvantages, all they had all around dubs.
Yeah.
Like they're GMing amazingly, right?
Now that being said, I hope they miss the playoffs. It'll be hilarious.
And that'll be jokes if they miss the playoffs. But then no, man, they're like 10 points off.
But going back to it, we know they're probably not gonna. They'll probably find their way. We already know Stone's gonna get healthy, and but we have to talk about this because it was literally right at the buzzer, like after 12. Essentially, is when we found out about the trade.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Thomas Hurdle, honestly, he's been pretty decent this year when you think about it. Like, he only played 48 games. He has 34 points.
Yeah.
With San Jose, which is probably, you should like 1.5 times their points.
Yeah.
Because it's San Jose. 15 goals. Pretty solid. And he's been injured. He's out right now with a knee injury. He's going to be a great add. Thomas Hurdle's only 30 as well. He's not that old. I thought he was way older for some reason. And we've seen Thomas Hurdle pop off. Like, Thomas Hurdle... San Jose shouldn't have gave that contract because they were going in a different direction.
Yeah.
We knew that. But the amount of money Thomas Hurdle earned, it was earned. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that $8 million per year, Thomas Hurdle was that type of player. Right? Obviously, he might not be right now at the moment. But before that contract, Thomas Hurdle was that guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we covered the other trades on Wednesday or on Thursday's pod. You guys could check our reaction to that. But... Let's go back to Thursday. Let's go in order.
Basically, if you want to do quickly, like Thomas Hurdle is going to join Barbashev, Eichel, Marchessault, Manta, Carlson, Chandler Stevenson, and then Mark Stone when he comes back healthy.
Yeah.
That's like
they're loaded on the defensive end too.
That's like 7 forwards right there that are studs, and obviously defensively they have like 6 studs already.
Okay, so let's go move on to quick trades, then we'll go back to winners and losers in general. Of some teams, just because we're going to lose track of them.
Vegas all the way. Another winner. Our third winner that we mentioned.
Yeah.
As well. 2 more left.
Blackhawks ship Beauvillier to Predators. You said that already. 5th round pick.
Yeah.
There's just, solid piece. Barry Trotz knows the guy from his days in the Islanders as well.
Yeah.
Beauvillier, obviously a good third line player in general.
He's a depth piece. Good depth piece.
The Maple Leafs added Joel Edmondson. Caps will retain 50% of his salary. And then they received a 3rd round pick this year and a 5th round pick in 2025. Okay. Oilers, they acquired defensive depth in Troy Stetcher and a 7th round pick for a 4th round pick in 2027. This year, they get a 7th round pick this year. Avalanche, they added Brandon Duhamel for a 3rd round pick in 2026 from division rival Minnesota Wild. They also added Yakov Trenin and Graham Sword from the Predators for Jeremy Hans on a 3rd round pick. So they continue to add depth pieces there.
Trenin's a good depth piece.
This is a big one. The Tampa Bay Lightning landed Anthony Duclair and a 7th round pick for Jack Thompson defenseman and a 3rd round pick from this year.
Plus another trade they made as well. Matthew Dumba.
Oh yeah, we'll go to that later. I'm just going in order.
Oh yeah.
That's why I don't want to lose.
Okay, yeah.
So Lightning, yeah, and then the Ducks received Ben Myers. Avalanche cap dumped 5th round pick 2024. Malcolm Subban, remember that name?
Yes.
He's a Blue Jacket goalie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Red Wings bring in depth blue liner. They're looking like they're a playoff team now. Redeem C-Mac and a 7th round pick for Klim Kostin. Devils and the Sharks make goalie trades.
No, it doesn't matter.
Kaapo Kakinen and Vitek Vanacek. A little too late. Didn't Jake Allen get traded?
Yeah. To the Devils as well.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why that's not on here. Unless something happened.
Yeah. I mean, these are all the little moves.
These are them. I'm going to get through them. Jack Ross. Rangers stay busy with depth moves. They added Chad Rudwell for a 4th rounder in 2027. Comes a 3rd rounder if the Rangers reach Stanley Cup final. They also added Nick Patan and Jack Roslovich. Bruins added Andrew Peak for a 3rd round pick in 2027.
Don't say like that like you know who he is.
Andrew Peak. I know, I've heard of him.
Okay.
Jacob Zbroro. Flyers add Eric Johnson. Predators, here we go again. They bring in Jason Zucker.
Yeah, that was a big one.
For a 6th round pick only.
Yeah,
it's kind of surprising to me because he was the 3rd guy after Toffoli. But obviously, major drop-offs.
Honestly, bro, like Zucker wasn't gonna go for much, bro. Like looking at the numbers this year, it was not good.
Bruins land Patrick Maroon.
Oh, cup. He was won like 3 cups in a row.
Yeah. Sabres traded away Kyle Poso to the Panthers. Oh yeah, Devils did Jake Allen. Dumba lands in Tampa Bay, like you said.
Poso one is a stud.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a perfect 3rd line guy for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Be really impressive there. Panthers also being.
It's a captain trade as well.
Yeah, Panthers being another winner team for us. Obviously, they added Tarasenko, which we already talked about in the previous episode.
Yeah.
But Kyle Poso is going to be a perfect 3rd line guy for them, 4th line guy, perfect depth piece, and it's a good move by them.
Dumba, 7th round pick and a 5th coming to Lightning for a 5th round pick in 2027. Yeah, Tampa. I don't know if I want to classify them as a loser because
they're not a loser.
You were in on Hanifin, but then you didn't go after Chikrin either.
They're not.
One of the players who did not get traded was Jacob Chikrin.
They're not a loser, but they're neutral. They're neutral.
At least it did something. Leafs add bottom 6 depth with Connor Dewar. This is a weird one. Caps retain 50% of Evgeny Kuznetsov, who is also joining the Carolina Hurricanes for 3rd round pick in 2025. Obviously, it's not the Evgeny Kuznetsov from 2018, who arguably could have been a Conn Smythe winner himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, he is coming off the player assistance program, ended up being the most expensive player for Hershey. I don't know if he ended up playing a game for them, though.
Yeah.
But let's see. Maybe leadership factor. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know how much he's going to play.
Yeah, it's experience factor. We don't know how much he'll play, but at the end of the day, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I'll just say that much.
Jets also received Colin Miller for a 4th round pick in 2026. And yeah, so that wraps up all those trades. So let's go back to the winners quickly. And you talked about
the Panthers.
Florida.
Yeah.
I know you're still sticking with Carolina. How much of a gap did they put themselves between those 2 teams for you? Because I think those are your top 2 teams out of the East, at least.
Yeah. If I would say that would be like a rematch of last year's ECF. I mean, yeah, they did whatever Carolina. Obviously, Carolina had the more significant move. Florida, on the other hand, like Florida, everything's just been clicking for them since the playoff run, right?
As long as they're healthy and Bobrovsky doesn't fall off a cliff.
Exactly. Like Bobrovsky's been really good this year. He's been an all-star this year, so he's found his form. Ekblad, Montour healthy. You extended Forsling, who's also been really good for them. And then you have Barkov. You have now added Tarasenko. You have Kachuk, obviously. Sam Reinhart just took another level this year, took another step. So, like, it's just an all-around good team, all-around solid team. And then now with Carolina, like, you kind of added that goal scoring that probably would have been lacking, or was lacking in your playoff runs in the previous years, and you fixed that massively by adding the number one guy in Jake Ensel.
Who's your biggest winner of the trade deadline? Because I'll give you mine because we're going to talk about that.
And it's obviously,
if you have to pick one,
it's Vegas. I can't say no. Like, yes, they played the game really well. They're as simple as that. They played the game really well last year too when they added Barbashev and Bluger, right? But this year was just next level compared to last year because Thomas Hurdle is a great player. Noah Hannafin is a stud, right? There's no going off
the
that.
best defenseman available.
Yeah, and then Anthony Mantha is another good goal scorer. Who I think he had decent. I think
he's up and down. He's just had an up and down career.
I think he had double-digit goals this year as well with Hurdle.
Yeah.
So they added two decent goal scorers this year.
For me, I'm not disagreeing with you, but for me, it's Colorado, and the reason why is the upgrade from Ryan Johansson to Casey Middlestat, and I feel like that's very big because McKinnon might win MVP this year, Hart Trophy this year, and it's all been on the shoulders of McKinnon. Forward-wise, McKinnon and Rantanen. So they did not have any depth, really. They added, obviously, Brandon Duhamy. I don't know how you say the name, from Minnesota. But Middlestat, I'm not saying he's going to be Nazem Kadri, right? He probably ain't going to be Nazem Kadri, what Nazem Kadri was when he was playing for Colorado, right? The reason why I slightly disagree with your take, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just putting my guy, in this case, my team ahead of your team, is because even if Vegas did not make moves, even if they did not make moves, I still think when they're healthy, they're going to be a Stanley Cup contender. This Colorado team gave me question marks. And now those question marks are gone, that you don't have to ride McKinnon and Rantanen like 25 minutes a night or whatever much they play, 20 to 25 minutes a night. You could rely on a guy like Casey Middlestat. You added more defensive help with Sean Walker. Yes, you got rid of Bowen Byram, different type of players, right? So that's why Colorado is my biggest winner, because I feel like their upgrades propelled them where I'm confident of calling them a Stanley Cup contender lock.
Okay.
Preseason wise, I didn't think they were a lock. But they were better than the Canucks, but like under Vegas.
I don't like the way that like you like went at Vegas for already being good. It's like kind of propelling that.
I get that.
Just because Vegas was already good, that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean Colorado's moves were better, right? Like I'm not disagreeing that. I'm just picking at your reasoning. I don't like that reasoning.
I'm factoring the team as a whole as well, who upgraded their team the best, and how much did that team propel distance-wise, like, I guess, right?
I think they propelled the same, bro. Like, when you add in the number one defenseman and two decent goal scorers, it's the same thing, right? Like,
I get that.
And just because Vegas was better than Colorado on paper already, you can't use that. Like, just because Vegas was already better, they didn't get propelled. They got propelled a lot, bro.
They did. But sometimes adding a lot of pieces, you know what could happen to a team. We saw it with the Rangers last year.
We haven't seen that with Vegas because they do it every single year.
Yeah, but last year was the only time it worked.
I mean, they always make...
What I'm saying is, I'm saying Colorado...
Western Conference Finals.
Like, if Colorado's preseason team versus Vegas' preseason team, I think Vegas would have won like 4-1, 4-2.
Yeah, Vegas was a better team.
Healthy.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
But that doesn't mean that like they were cup contenders at the end of the day, right?
I was hesitant to put Colorado a cup contender.
Yeah, like that's fair. Yeah, no, I'm talking about Vegas just because they were already cup contender, and now you add in Hannafin. What does that make them now?
I get that, and I get that. I'm not saying you were wrong.
Like, okay, Middlestat with Sean Walker, yeah, they're good additions. They're not comparing to Hannafin.
And I get that, but who's on McKinnon's level from that team? Who's on Rantanen's level on that team? I think those two are top. If you're combining,
yeah, so that means your argument's getting worse here.
No, but I'm talking about the depth after is clearly Vegas.
Yeah,
that's my point here. Offensively, right? Defensively, they both made good moves. Yes, Vegas added the top guy. They added a roster fit.
Like, I'm not disagreeing
no.
It's not like this is different, right, than our usual shit.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing that you have Colorado like as usual. I'm just disagreeing with the fact that you're saying that just because Vegas was a better team, that's why I feel like Colorado's like. To me, you said Vegas was already a better team. That's why Colorado's better because I could say they're cup contenders. I don't understand how you get that from that.
My point is, okay, so how I got that from that is because if Colorado did not make moves, whereas Vegas made moves, the gap would have been further and further. Colorado made moves that were like wow as well, right? Colorado made moves that I am confident calling them a cup contender again. That's why Vegas was already a cup contender in my eyes, whether they add pieces or not. I'm not saying Vegas's work was bad and that's the reason why they're under Colorado.
Yeah, you're not saying that.
I'm saying the level of the team. Colorado upgraded heavily.
I'm just picking at your reasoning.
Yeah, that my reasoning is because Colorado's heavily upgraded their team by adding the biggest hole they had, which was second line center, and they added a defenseman that could fit their system better than Bowen Byram does at the moment, which you used to get Casey Middlestat. So I feel like Colorado, for me, firmly is a cup contender, and that's why they're my biggest winner, because they needed to go out and make these moves. Obviously, you want to make your team better. I'm not saying Vegas should have not done those moves, but I feel like if Vegas did not make those moves, they would have still been fine as long as they're healthy. I understand they're struggling right now, but that's due to injuries. That's my point. I'm not saying Vegas is... Like, if someone has Vegas as their winner, I'm not going to be like, you're wrong. But I'll give you a reason why I think Colorado is that, because I feel like...
So you just felt like Colorado needed to make moves and did that?
Moves of meaning. Like, Toronto made moves. They're my biggest loser.
No, Toronto's useless. Toronto's just useless.
Right? So that's my point. Like, they made moves of significance, and that also came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
So those are all the winners we have.
We have our 5 winners. Our 3 losers
we mentioned the Kings earlier. Let's just finish.
Well, let's start off with Toronto just because we shot on them already.
Okay, fine.
You guys. Joel Edmondson's me decent piece. He's me better than half your defenseman already. I think Joel Edmondson will be your second best defenseman that plays defense.
But again, he's a third pairing guy.
But at best,
that's the point.
At best, he's like an Ian Cole addition for the Canucks.
Yeah. So
like for the Leafs to make this work, they needed like 2 more Joel Edmondsons.
Yeah, you could have maybe added a goalie I know you're not gonna get Jake Allen from Montreal right away, but what I'm saying is, you could have tried to go out for a goalie. You could have went out and tried to get a better defenseman. I don't know I don't know what the offers were for Tanev and Zadorov and Hanifin, if they even were in on Hanifin, right? I don't know what the actual deals were, because I heard rumors that they wanted... The reason why Zadorov did not go to Toronto was because they wanted them to retain, whereas the Canucks were like, we'll take all of his contract in. Same thing, I think, with Tanev. I think they offered a first, but with some retention thing, right? Obviously, Calgary, I don't know why you would help Vegas out like that, but that's where they're bad. Offensively, you still need depth scoring. Outside of Matthews, who's been on a tear, and we're going to have a Matthews video coming out in April.
I have no issues offensively.
I have depth scoring issues, and I'm not the only one saying that as well.
Like, at the end,
I'm hearing Leafs fans say, like, where's the depth scoring? Because at the end of the day, the players that do not perform...
It's become an issue if Matthews stops scoring.
Yeah.
But Leafs are like a lot of the Leafs are a good comeback team. They really are, right? Like when you think about it, that Tampa Bay series, I would say all their wins were comeback wins.
Yeah, but that was the only time they got out of the first round.
Yeah, no, that's true as well. But like, the Leafs are able to make bounce back games, but that's the only way they win games. That's the biggest issue. They need to be losing for them to wake up.
The Leafs are...
And they need to be losing 3-0
the Leafs
for them to wake up in the playoffs.
Not struggling. The Leafs, like, win percentage, whatever that thing is less than last year. And last year they added pieces to help them.
Yeah, no.
Right?
It's just the overall shit deadline. Overall, it was very lackluster. And,
like, you want to be a Stanley Cup contender? I'm trying to give you a little bit of praise on the
video that you have no chance. No chance.
So
I'm gonna be very surprised if the Toronto Maple Leafs,
like, they're matched up with Boston right now. So, and right now I would pick Boston in a series. But
I would pick Boston too, but
Boston is also my loser.
Boston is also another loser. Yeah,
because
they have no centers.
Exactly.
They have no centers.
They could have been in a team to get Adam Henrique at the very minimum. Is he a top line center? No.
Well,
they could have been the team that.
You don't need a top line center.
They could have been a team to get. I thought Elias Lindholm was a lock there.
For sure, yeah.
Maybe as a free agent, sure, but at least for trade deadline, if you want to compete once again, he was. I'm not saying he's obviously no longer a top line center, but with Boston he might be, because of the style they play.
Yeah, no, but like Charlie Coyle has stepped up his game to be like, you didn't need a top line center. You just need a center.
Yeah, like a stud center.
Just a center.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit who it is? Just get a center, because you don't really have any. So it's been incredible what Charlie Coyle's been doing as their top line center. Like, he's having a really good year and is playing beyond our expectations, especially because we thought Boston will miss it because they have no centers.
Yeah. So that's why they're our loser, because I feel like a guy like Lindholm would have propelled their team. I'm saying pre-Canucks trade. I'm not even saying the post-Canucks trade rumors that were
Yeah,
out.
Henrique, Lindholm are probably the two big ones.
Monahan,
Monahan, yeah.
right? So those are the ones. I don't know who else was available center-wise at the top of my head, but yeah, so those guys. Other loser, LA Kings. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Like I said, we thought they were an underrated team to win a cup this year. Their goaltending is letting them down. They play a boring style of hockey, and if that hockey doesn't work, they can't really buy goals, especially with their injuries they have right
Yeah,
now.
I think their biggest issue isn't goaltending. I think their biggest issue is goal scoring.
Yeah,
Right? Because at the end of the day, like, Kings make the games close.
but
Right? Their system is that's just how their system is. Like a 2-1 Canucks game, right? Had no business of being 2-1, but they find a way to make it close. The issue is they can't score.
But if they can't score, and let's just say a team like if you get matched up against Edmonton somehow,
That's
McDavid's gonna just blow by that 1-3-1, score 1 or 2 goals, you're gonna collapse. Because then how are you gonna win the game?
we can't just really say McDavid blows by that 1-3-1 because they actually found a way to neutralize McDavid in the series last year.
Yeah, but it's also McDavid, and he'll
Yeah, I
be
know,
smart
but
if you play
yeah,
3 times. in a
yeah.
row.
My issue is it's just goal scoring. They don't have any.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Unless PLD somehow finds a way to turn it around and go on a run, they don't really have a chance.
Yeah, and I don't have faith in PLD right now.
Oh yeah, of
unfortunately.
course.
But again, the Devils, I'm going to throw them in here. I know I didn't originally have it on my list, but I'm going to throw it in here. Not a fan of that trade at all. I'm not going to revisit
Yeah,
that.
we already said that.
And the goaltending side of things. Like, why do it now? Right? Like, why add 2 goalies now? You lost one of your top scorers in Tyler Toffoli. So, I got to argue, is Jake Allen really going to help you get in the playoffs right now?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Who
Does it really cause harm though? That's what I'm trying to say here.
Because I don't know.
Like-
I don't know what their contract status
Like
is.
Toronto not making moves is harmful.
Yeah.
Like same with
They're a
Boston,
team that
same
they're a team
same
that
with
should've won
LA.
Cup Kakinen at the minimum. Toronto.
Like at the end of the day, like I don't think whatever moves Devils did, I don't think it
I
really
think for
affects
me, it's
them.
like they were all in on Markstrom. Why not just go all in now and just get it done? I guess. Like I'm
Unless-
not sure what I don't
unless
know-
they're giving up
I don't know what
themselves.
their contract status is.
Like at the end of the day, if you're telling me you're getting rid of Toffoli, you made him available, you're giving up on the season.
That's my point.
So why would they go for Markstrom?
Because either way, they're still looking for next year. They wanted to extend Toffoli. They just didn't come to an agreement of the contract. So they might revisit Toffoli and get him on the offseason, right? But my only issue with them was like, okay, if you're gonna do this, like again, I don't know what the contract status is. I think Jake Allen's a free agent. But again, my point is that like
Because like when you look at it, the goalies they got are not much better than the goalies
that's exactly
that they
I'm
already
gonna
have.
stay
So
put at this
it doesn't
point.
really matter.
I'm
It
like,
doesn't
stay put
matter.
at this point. That's my point. But
Like they didn't lose anything. They didn't really lose anything. It doesn't harm them. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
okay, let's talk about our squad very quickly, and who are in on a lot of these names. I'm surprised we did not make a depth piece move. I'm gonna say that. I'm surprised, not surprised, because I know they're saying that like they're not gonna overpay, and thankfully they didn't. Because I don't think, I agree if they're alluding that this year's team is not there for as a cup winner. I agree with that. So why mortgage the future? Why not keep the guys you want to develop them further? Maybe Pokolzin, Arshdeep, Baines, Lakira Maki, and all these guys. I don't think Lakira Maki will be in next year, but if he does, they emerge and they could come into the lineup right away, right? So I'm fine with not overspending. I just, like I said, the Toffoli package, I'm not gonna waste too much time on it. I think that's the package we could have done.
We know what the issue was for the Canucks.
Winger.
Oh, like we know their need. I'm talking about we know the issue.
Oh,
Like they
yeah.
couldn't make a trade. They don't have the money.
No, I think they were gonna have the money. I think they didn't have the pieces, is what they were saying.
And that too, they don't have a first round pick. They don't have a second round pick this year, as well. And I don't think they. And your best prospects, like your prospect pool is pretty shit. Other
Outside of the
than
top,
outside of Willander,
Lekaramaki
and DPD, then you could obviously throw C-Laws obviously as a fourth guy.
he's kind of struggling.
But he's been shit this year. But from what I've seen last year, he was incredible.
Yeah. So for me, I think just not to make it all about the Canucks. I'm happy we did not like overspend on Genso.
I think
I'm happy
yeah.
we didn't overspend on Toffoli.
It's not even overspending. You legit couldn't spend.
No, but my point is we didn't give up assets because listen, this management group is smart. We know they would have found a way, right? They would have flipped Mikheyev, 100%. Mikheyev would have been flipped as a salary filler, right? So I'm not cap aside. I know the cap was an issue. I'm saying I'm happy we didn't trade the assets. Like glad we didn't trade Hoglander as much as
Exactly. So that's the issue.
Yeah.
They couldn't find a way.
yeah.
They couldn't find
you
a
were talking
way.
about the cap a little bit. That's what
I
I
was
was saying.
talking about both. I was talking about
Yeah,
cap
yeah,
and
but,
they don't. They just simply Canucks did not have the assets
Yeah, I mean, plus they already made their moves prior to the deadline,
as well, right? So like,
that's why they're not a loser. Is because they added Lindholm and they added Zadorov.
but
Lindholm is gonna take some time. He played well against Vegas, which is what is perfect for what he is.
that's what we need him for.
center
Yeah.
combo.
So here's the thing, right? Like at the end of the day, Lindholm and Zadorov are trade deadline pieces,
Yeah,
right? And in that sense, you did good. You got good pieces.
you
In the bad sense is that you had a need of a winger, and you couldn't address that. So that's why you're
yeah.
at the end of the day, you're not a winner. You're not a loser. You're just in the middle.
I
You're
still
neutral.
think that they could have tried to get it. Like I said, like I would have been happy if they got in a winger because at the end of the day, like you said, there's 7 out of 8 teams, or I guess you're confident about 6 out of the 8 teams. Let's just say that could make the finals this year, right? Obviously, Vegas, maybe Edmonton, and Colorado top the list, but then the Canucks, the Jets, Dallas top that list too, right? So the Canucks and Jets are just under them, in my opinion, right? So maybe that's why fans or like analysts were like, okay, they have a chance. They have a good year this year. They're healthy this year, but again, they did not take the bending approach and decided to like go all out like they did the OEL.
It was smart, right?
It was smart.
They played it smart
Because
they played it boring, but at the end of the day, I think it's gonna be it's gonna be the right decision at the end of the day.
I still think they need to could have added a couple of depth pieces that are better than Mark Friedman, for example, as a 7th defenseman at the moment.
Is Mark Friedman the 7th defenseman?
At the moment, yes, because Tyler Myers is injured.
Oh yeah, Myers injured.
Right?
Yeah, that's why.
Like that's where I agree with Sa.
But like when everyone healthy, Friedman's the 8th defenseman.
Yeah, but like like even if you could get a slight upgrade over Juleson, if you can, right?
Well,
Even,
Juleson has been very
or
well,
forward
bro.
wise, could you have not gotten a Zucker for a 6th?
I don't think defensively it was an issue. I think it would have been depth pieces if it comes forward wise.
I'm just looking at analyst perspective too, like obviously tying in my opinion and just trying to put it that way. That's where people were surprised, even analysts were surprised. Usually Canucks could do like a very small move for a 7th round pick, 6th round pick, right? Just to add to it. Your boy Mott could have been that pick, but then
no, it's not this.
Tampa.
There's one player I was like, okay, you could have done.
Yeah.
And that was a Zucker.
Yeah.
You could have gone a Zucker. I don't think you were getting to Foley. I don't think you would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
I don't think you definitely weren't pulling off Gensel.
Yeah.
Right? And I think Zucker would have been easy. It should have been pulled off by you guys. That's the only negative I'll take away from this. Zucker should have been pulled off.
Yeah. The other team we want to talk about was the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not saying they're a loser. I'm not saying they're a winner.
Same as the Canucks.
For me, they're a team that should have went all out because you have McDavid and Draisaitl. And last year I gave them a winner status. And we didn't have a pod last year, when we were talking off camera, because they added Ekholm. Right? I feel like they're a team. If you were gonna give up a first round pick definitively for a Henrique, I know they have a couple of young guys. They could have gone Gensel and made it work somehow with salary retention purposes.
Yeah, they could have gone bigger.
So that's where I'm disappointed. Like from a neutral side of things, I'm disappointed at Edmonton because you get him a Gensel and maybe one defensive depth piece like you did Stetcher. That's fair. You probably could have been in the finals run this year if they added Gensel.
Yeah. So here's my take. I agree with that. They definitely could have gotten bigger, but they still got better.
They did slightly better.
They still got better, but they definitely could have gone bigger. That's the only takeaway from the Oilers.
But again, with a team like that, eventually you got to pay your 2 top guys. This was probably a good year for you to go all out.
Obviously, yeah. It was basically what we just said.
Yeah.
You got better, but you could have gone bigger.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Like Henrique, it's
That's
slightly
the best
above a
way to put it.
Beauvillier for me.
Simplest
I
way
guess
to
that's
put
the
it.
best way I could
It's not slightly above. It's levels above.
For me, it's that.
It's levels above.
Not levels.
Yeah.
That's you're
Henrique's been really good this year.
again. What team was he on?
The Anaheim Ducks.
Exactly.
Yeah, Beauvillier couldn't do anything with Blackhawks. So there's the case.
Their literally creator was injured in Connor Bedard.
So
That's the point.
But you didn't do anything.
Last thing to close it out, the players that did not get traded, because I'm just scrolling down the list and it's gonna take some time. But Pavel Buchnevich off the bat.
Buchnevich, obviously, quickly just listed off.
Frank Vetrano, Riley Smith. So I think Colton Parayko. I think these guys had like
term,
and that's why it was
That's
tough
why
to
they're
do.
lower on the list.
Max Pacioretty, I think Max Pacioretty had offers. He declined and he's like, I want to stay.
Do you want to stay in Washington?
Family.
Oh.
And stuff because
that
he
makes
coming
sense.
off injury.
Yeah.
Because that's what he said. Jacob Markstrom, obviously. So those are like some of the big names. Jacob Chikrin is the biggest name. I think.
Yeah, these guys just had term. That's why they're also low on the list. There's like obviously, if these guys were all free agents, Parayko would be a top 10.
Yeah.
Buchnevich will be in the top 10.
One guy that was a trade target was rumored to go to Edmonton. Would have been perfect for them, but ended up extending his contract. Was Jordan Eberle for 2 years.
Oh yeah, the return. We could have seen the return to Edmonton.
He probably was like, nah, let me just stay in Seattle.
He's like, yeah, I hated Edmonton. But yeah, so that wraps up our NHL trade deadline reaction. Please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for the support recently. Hit the smash the like button. Comment your opinions down below. Who won? Who lost?
Check out some polls. I'll drop it.
As well. And
YouTube. Make sure you guys.
You take away the rest because I don't know what you say.
So make sure you guys check out the polls, like I said, as well as we're gonna be talking about now, like our post trade deadline. Maybe not next episode because I'll be NFL heavy, but in the next 1 or 2 weeks we'll be talking about once again a recap of everything, a preview ahead of.
It's just a playoff race.
It's just a playoff race picture and all that. So, but once again, we appreciate you guys' support. We're at 451 at the moment. Get that up to 500 as soon as possible. We'll keep creating content like this. Make sure you guys follow our socials. We always drop reels, YouTube shorts, and TikToks. Audio listeners, make sure you guys download it, rate and review it. We continue to support that way. We appreciate you guys for that. And other than that, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.